Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Melanin Reset Podcast. I am your host, Valarie, and I want to talk to you about the decision that came down on Friday, June 24th, 2022, the reversal of Roe versus Wade. That has been a constitutional right in this country for the last 5 decades. Actually, it was 49 years. So there's at least 2 generations of women that had this right to choose. Now, a lot of people think that this case is strictly about abortion. But in actuality, this case is about autonomy of women's bodies. This is a country that says that their ideals are rooted in freedom and liberty. But I beg to differ, because today they handed down a decision that is going to change the scope of this country for we don't know how long. Hopefully, I can say we're going to turn out in the midterm elections, that is November of this year, and vote like we should, or we're going to let it fall by the wayside like we have done with other things. So today I want to talk to you about that decision and just what the Supreme Court has been doing in general, because this week they have been on steroids trying to get their agenda done, because right now the Supreme Court has been politicized. The Supreme Court has been politicized. So I'll start out by saying that elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. In 2016, there were a lot of people that were against voting for Hillary Rodham Clinton because they thought that she was the greater of 2 evils. And we saw how that turned out. We had the Green Party. We had an independent party. I don't know how many candidates we had running for the presidential election, but we see how that turned out. Everything that Hillary Rodham Clinton said would come true, basically, it came true. Donald Trump was elected as the president of the United States in 2016. I hardly ever say his name, and I don't think I ever used it, calling him by his title. I'll call him Trump. I'll call him Cheetolini, but I've never called him by the title of the president of the United States, because to me, from the jump, he's been a problem. Donald Trump wasn't just a problem in 2016. Donald Trump has been a problem. If you go back and you look at his reputation over the years, he's been a problem. I remember when Donald Trump took out a full-page ad in I think it was the New York Times or the New York Post, but I think it was the Times, one of the New York newspapers, with the Central Park 5. We call them the exonerated 5 now. Basically, what he wanted to do to those black men was lock them up for the rest of their lives without any evidence. But we know this is the American way. And elections have consequences. This week, I was supposed to talk to you guys about the lost cause, the myth of the lost cause. But it seems that this is more important for me to talk about. So elections have consequences. With the Donald Trump presidency, there were 3 Supreme Court vacancies. So he appointed 3 Supreme Court judges or jurists, and all three of them lied under oath. Now, they took a page out of Clarence Thomas's book, his playbook, and from here on out, and I made a Facebook post about this today, from here on out, because I told y'all on one of my podcasts a while back, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So from here on out, to me, Clarence Thomas will be known as Justice Sambo. I'm not going to call him an Uncle Tom, because one thing I know about Uncle Tom was Uncle Tom refused to beat the females who were enslaved. Let me repeat that. Uncle Tom refused to beat or to whip the females that were enslaved. And most of the time when he refused to do that, he put his own life in jeopardy. If he did commence to whipping those female slaves, he took it easy on them. But not old Sambo. Not old Sambo. Sambo wanted to please Massa. And right now we know that Justice Sambo is trying to please old Massa. And that Massa I'm talking about is his wife. That Massa I'm talking about is his wife. Because most of us know and understand that this woman has been connected to the insurrection that happened on January the 6th. And what we need to recognize right now, we are in a mental civil war. That's what we are. That's where we are. Now, the question may be, well, Val, are you pro-choice or are you pro-life? I'm all about life. The Constitution talks about life, liberty, and justice. But as a Black African American in this country, we haven't experienced all of that yet. That promise haven't been fulfilled to us yet. We still fighting for those freedoms. Okay? We still fighting for those promises. Okay? But we understand that elections have consequences. And Donald Trump and his minions worked up the crowd on January 6th of 2021 because he lost the election. He lost. The American people voted him out. They voted him out by way of the Electoral College, and they voted him out with the popular vote. But how many of you know that the popular vote in America does not count? We do this thing with the Electoral College, and that is a relic of slavery. As a matter of fact, all this stuff is. Michelle Obama, forever First Lady, she wrote in a statement today that if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. It was Michelle Obama who told us when they go low, we go high. But Simone Sanders put it this way today, and I'm with her. When they go low, we go toe to toe. Because the problem with the Democrats have been this. They want to do everything bipartisan. And bipartisan means with a bipartisan effort. That means with the Republicans included in the decisions. But let me ask you this. Are the Republicans including the Democrats in any of their decisions? Absolutely not. Did they include the Democrats in any of their decisions under Trump? Absolutely not. Did they box Barack Obama in? Yes. Now, one of my friends on Facebook, he'll disagree with that because he said that Barack Obama was able to get LGBTQ rights done. Well, Was he? Because see, the way I see it, all our rights are intertwined. And if y'all don't see it that way, y'all need to wake up. Y'all really need to wake up. Because all of our rights, the civil rights that Martin Luther King them marched for 14 years and protest for 14 years, Martin Luther King, Fannie Lou Hamer, John Lewis, Rosa Parks. That didn't happen overnight. It took 14 years. Even though what was on the books, the 14th Amendment that gave us full citizenship in this country. But the Supreme Court today passed down a decision that says a woman in this country is a second-class citizen because she's not capable of making choices or decisions about her own body. And a lot of people think this stuff is only wrapped up in abortion. It is not. It is not. Because let me ask you this. For men, are there any laws on the books to make men get a vasectomy? Are there any laws on the books that tells a man what he should do with his body? No. No. Elections have consequences. So Trump appointed 3 judges, 3 Supreme Court justices. Let me say it right. Justices. And all 3 of them had to go before Congress. Their confirmation hearings in Congress, the Senate chamber of Congress. All 3 of them had to sit through their confirmation hearings. And the question was asked about Roe versus Wade. And every last one of them lied. They took a play out of Clarence Thomas' book, his playbook, old Justice Sambo playbook, and they lied. Kavanaugh lied, Gorsuch lied, and the handmaid lied.
Do I have this day an opinion, a personal opinion, on the outcome in Roe versus Wade? And my answer to you is that I do not.
Roe versus Wade is an important precedent of the Supreme Court.
A good judge will consider it as precedent, worthy as treatment of precedent, like any other.
It has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years.
Roe is not a super precedent because calls for its overruling have never ceased, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled.
Do I have respect for these people? No, I do not. I don't. And I don't even have the patience for people who are saying withhold your vote. That is the dumbest argument I have ever heard. We're going to withhold our vote. That's withholding our power. We want some tangibles. Don't you realize how government works? No, you don't. Because if you realize how government worked, you would understand, you would truly understand that we need more people, more progressives in the Senate. And we need to hold on to the House. But we have some selfish voters that only care about their generation, only care about themselves. So they chose not to vote. They chose to withhold their vote. This last election with Biden, over 80 million people did not vote. 80 million registered voters did not vote. People better wake up. People better wake up. But these 3 Trump-appointed justices lied under oath. And to me, from what I've read, that's an impeachable offense. But are they going to hold them accountable, or are they going to expand the court? Because right now it's unbalanced and it is politicized. And there are a lot of black conservatives right now in this very moment that I have a problem with, because I'm all for pro-life, pro-choice. I'm for it. You know, because you ought to be able to make the decision for yourself and not impose your beliefs on other people. You know, several years ago, I walked away from the church. And in the coming episodes, I'm going to let you guys know why. I'm going to let you guys know why. Because what are they doing? Where are the leaders? Black conservatives, they hate everything about slavery except for Christianity, or shall I say religion. Anyway, the 3 Trump appointed justices, they lied, and that's an impeachable offense. And Congress can hold them accountable if we give Congress the help that they need in the midterms, which is, I think it's November 8th of 2022. Tuesday, November 8th of 2022. Okay? So all hope is not lost. This is not Gilead from The Handmaid's Tale. Oh, but we coming close. And if y'all haven't watched that series on Hulu, y'all need to check it out, because it is something to behold. Now, I'm not knocking anybody's religion. Understand that, because you can choose to believe what you want to believe. But what I am saying is respect other people's choices. It's a respect thing, because the Constitution itself, First Amendment, talks about the separation of church and state. The First Amendment. Anyway, so those 3 Trump appointed justices need to be held accountable for the lie that they told to Congress to get their places on that court, to do what they did today. Now, one thing I'm going to say about Kavanaugh, and I'm going to give him some grace. Kavanaugh said that it was going too far with the law would be to prosecute the women who leave their states to go to another state to have an abortion. But it ain't just about abortions. It's about women health care. If a woman has a miscarriage, that woman has to carry a deceased fetus in her body until she's able to give birth. Understand what they've done. Anyway. You trying to tell me this is God's way? That's what some of y'all trying to tell me? You know, I'm being real and I'm being very honest here. And sometimes honesty without tact can come across as being cruel. I'm not trying to be cruel. But what I am telling you is right now we got political opponents who deal in ignorance, they deal in fear, and they deal in bigotry. And every time Black America makes progress, we get what is called white lash. You know, like Buffalo mass shooting, you know, the great replacement theory. Come on now. And that's why I want to talk to you guys about the lost cause, because y'all need to understand what these people have done. And while we're in the position that we're in. Anyway. The GOP, in my opinion, for the black men, the 12% that voted for Trump and voted for the GOP during that 2016 and 2018 elections to make sure that Trump had full control of the Trump administration, had full control of the government. This on y'all. And the 53% white women that voted. Because see, black women, we tried to tell y'all. And the 88% of black men tried to tell y'all. But anyway, I was talking about religion. Religion is many things to people. It's a way of life, it's a philosophy, and it's an ideology. But does your religion line up with the Constitution? Because what you guys need to understand is America is not a Christian nation. It never has been. You know, in the history books, they like to tell you that the Pilgrims came over here because they was running from, religious torture. So they came over here to do the same thing? Make it make sense. Riddle me that. It's about freedom. See, religion, in my opinion, is a control mechanism. It controls you to make you acceptable for them. Anyway, we're going to get into that in future episodes. Tonight ain't the night for that. But conservatives, especially white evangelicals, knew Donald Trump would use religion to throw the stones that they've been trying to throw. Donald Trump threw the stones at the Muslims. Donald Trump threw the stones at Africans. You remember he talked about people coming from shithole countries? Donald Trump came down the stairs throwing stones at the Mexicans. So if you think this stuff is not rooted in whiteness and patriarchy and white supremacy and white males, white Christian males, you're wrong. And you need to wake up. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. But Mitch McConnell and the Republicans, they stole a Supreme Court seat from Obama. Let's remember that. But then they pushed old Amy Coney Barrett right through. They're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. Mitch McConnell and Trump stacked the federal appellate courts. So the Republicans, and this is my last point, they played a long game. Because for 49 years, for 5 decades, they've been trying to overturn this particular law. So they play the long game. While Democrats play the short game and they play the bipartisan game. Okay? But Republicans, they play the long game and they play partisan. I'm going to take care of my party, and that's it. And I'm going to tell you Democrats, and heed this as a warning, it's time to play hardball. Because our democracy is at stake. Our freedoms is at stake. And black people, while y'all running around here, young black folks talking about hold your votes, we need tangibles. How about your freedom is a tangible? How about that? How about your health care is a tangible? How about that? How about that? How about you getting the civil rights to walk down the street and not be bothered? And we know how that works out with the police. But we're supposed to have those rights. But we sitting here and we putting people in Congress, and we're not putting enough people in Congress that align with what we need them to do. We got Joe Biden up there, and I voted for Joe Biden, don't get me wrong, because I would rather have him than Trump. But understand, these people that are in Congress right now, like Joe Manchin, they voting to give more money to police departments. And look what happened in Uvalde. Just like this new gun law that came out this week. They signed it today. The Democrats really didn't get what they wanted. They got the bare minimum, but it's progress. And it's progress after 30 years. Y'all, we got to stop this. Because, see, progress needs to be coming faster than that. And we need to recognize that we are American citizens and get our asses out there and vote. And yes, I'm going to say we need to vote. Voting is only one pathway forward. But if we're not using that one pathway forward, it's a problem. And why do you think they trying to roll back your voting rights? The Texas GOP just came out with an agenda that say they want to totally repeal the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that gave black people the right to vote. Now, John Roberts, the other one that sit on the Supreme Court, because see, I don't, he ain't no saint to me either. He's the one who gutted out the protections from the states. And I'm going to tell y'all this, because see, I wanted to tell y'all about the lost cause, and we're going to get into that next week. Or I might have to do a podcast in between what I need to talk about next week. I might have to do a special podcast. Let me say that. But when we start hearing things like the states' right, that is rooted in white supremacy. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all better start recognizing your enemy. Because I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. Other people that vote Democratic is not your enemy. Other progressives are not your enemy. And I will not be standing with Christian folks who appease the white supremacy agenda. Because, see, we have too many of us black folks trying to be good and trying to go along to get along. But I'm going to tell y'all something. We love to talk about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wasn't popular. He was well known, but he wasn't. What he was doing was not popular among the majority of black people. They wanted him to sit down and be quiet. He was making it harder for us. No, he was fighting for future generations. And let me tell you something. If we don't start thinking about future generations, because you need to be thinking about 7 generations ahead when you deciding on who you voting for, because elections have consequences. So what I'm saying to you may not be as popular. And right now, I'm not trying to be popular, because right now I'm ringing the alarm, because we got a problem that we need to take care of. And we need to understand where we are. Okay? And with that being said, I appreciate you tuning in, checking me out. I really do. I really do. We have to vote. We have to vote. We have to get more people in, because voting does work. Okay, and I'm not one of these people that's going to buy into conspiracy theories. They just want you to believe this. Then let me tell you something. Donald Trump said this, and one thing I know to be true. If he can do it, he going to make it happen. He told a black woman this. He said, if you don't know your history, he don't know his, but anyway, he said, if you don't know your history, you can repeat it. And that's what's happening to all of us right now, because we've been given a watered down version of history. In the lost cause, the Confederacy is running amok. So this has been the realest homegirl, Valarie Wynn. I appreciate you tuning in, listening. I really do. And I will talk to you all on the next Melanin Reset podcast. Peace.